So how does this happen? Why, and how can we stop it? Our panel will weigh in on that. One of them, a ship owner himself, the victim of pirates. Also, your questions for our panel, Twitter, Facebook, MySpace, or iReport.com. We will get them on the air for you. All right, so the U.S. Navy locked in a standoff with pirates. How does something like this happen in the 21st century? We're going to look into that question with our panel of experts here. We really want to get to the bottom of this, so we've invited some folks here who can help us and maybe come up with some sort of solution that can be offered to solve this. They are Christodoulou, he's a former FBI lead international kidnapping negotiator, and Global Studies Group President Harry Humphreys, a former Navy SEAL. Tim Crockett of AKE, an international risk management company, trains people how to deal with these situations or how not to become a victim in these situations. Rutgers University Professor Saeed Samatar, he's the editor of the Horn of Africa Journal and the author of the book Somalia, A Nation in Turmoil. And James Christodoulou of International Shipping Enterprises Corporation, involved in a very similar incident and had to pay out money when it came to trying to get his things back, his belongings, his boat, right? Actually,
my crew.
Your crew was held captive in the seas here. Thank you all for joining us. Okay, why is this? We've been hearing about it, and a lot of people want to know, does it take this for someone to actually do something about it and to garner this much attention? I want to start with you, Mr. Christodoulou, since you were a victim. You know, it's very close at heart to you. What do you say to that?
Well, obviously, it did take this incident in order to garner at least American media attention. I can tell you that there were hundreds of attempted hijackings, and I think 40 ships were hijacked in 2008. Over 800 fellow seafarers were hijacked. So this obviously is what was needed to serve as a lightning rod, this very tragic event. I'd like to say something to kind of comment on what the general said. The ship owners are taking very proactive, defensive, and evasive measures when we transit those areas. We do have barbed wire. We proceed at maximum speed through that region. We have high-pressure hoses. My ship that was hijacked had additional security on board, non-lethal security, with very loud loudspeakers to defend against pirates. But all of these measures are delay tactics. They really can't deter a very determined, aggressive pirate with rocket-propelled grenades and AK-47s.
All right, let's bring in Tim Crockett here, AKE International Risk Management Company. Tim, you actually trained me for hostile environment training when it comes to war situations, in a situation where you may find yourself in some danger. So, in this situation, does it appear to you that these guys did the right thing when they were trying to, you know, when they pretended that the pirates had control of the ship when they actually didn't, and they fought back? Right thing to do here?
Well, it's difficult to say. It could have gone the other way, and obviously we could be dealing with a catastrophe.
Yeah.
Given the circumstances, they did act in the right way, and the captain himself obviously acted extremely courageously, offering himself up to protect his ship and his crew.
Saeed Samatar, the editor of the Horn of Africa Journal and the author of a book called Somalia, A Nation in Turmoil. These guys that are out on the sea here, Americans are trying to understand, and many people around the world trying to understand why. I mean, we know that they need money, but why put other people's lives in jeopardy when it comes to this sort of situation? Why not just go on, take what you need, maybe go back and sell it instead of doing this? Ransom money, obviously.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here, but I must say, as a caveat, I don't hear you completely. Mm-hmm. And if you could repeat that question, please. Yeah,
we'll try to get that fixed for you, and then we'll get back to you on that. We'll try to get your audio fixed. Let's bring back in Mr. Christodoulou here. You heard exactly what Tim Crockett said. He said that this is a situation where they acted in the best of their ability, and we could have had a catastrophe on the hands. These guys are holding people here, and it's all about bartering and how much money they can get. Really, that's the answer to why they do it, because they figure that the money on board, that what's on board this ship is not worth not the same as the amount of ransom money that they can get.
Well, I can tell you, and thankfully, the pirates are approaching this like a business. They are in it for cash, not palm oil that I was carrying, or crude oil, or whatever, iron ore that so many other ships were carrying that were transiting the area. So thankfully, they're in it only for the money, not to forward some type of political agenda, and that's why they hijack these ships.
Yeah, let's talk about where they're hijacking these ships and how the problem could actually maybe solved if they take a different route. They don't take different routes, usually because it's more expensive. Our Joe John explains. I want you to take a look, and then we'll comment on it.
Sure.
These dots represent where attacks occurred just last year. A merchant's ship choices for getting to this part of the world are either going around the northern tip of Africa through the Suez Canal or south around the Horn of Africa, which, by the way, is a much longer, slower, and more expensive trip. But nowadays, pirates have demonstrated the capacity to board commercial vessels hundreds of miles off the coast of Africa. So even if the ships started coming from the south, the result might very well be the same.
Mr. Christodoulou, do you agree with that?
I do, but I just want to point out that the issue of piracy is undermining global trade, and that's not why they built the Suez Canal over 150 years ago, to expedite and make more efficient global trade. Definitely, we could minimize risk by traveling around the Horn of Africa, by staying farther out at sea, but once again, we're going back to trade routes that were in existence in the mid-1800s. It's 2009. Let's eliminate the crime. And once again, use efficient routes. It's undermining global trade. 80% of commodities and goods worldwide are carried by sea.
We're going to go deeper inside this story to try to come up with some sort of a solution and give you the latest information on exactly what's happening there. These are our guests here. They're experts in all fields, including negotiation, someone who is actually involved in a very similar incident we have been speaking about. And we're going to learn more about who these pirates are and what the motivation is, even outside of money. It's hardly a lone incident here that's happening, at least when it comes to Americans. A look at the broader picture coming up. All right, welcome back to our special investigation. Somali pirates, can they be stopped? As efforts continue to end the standoff in the Indian Ocean, a key question surfaces. What are the pirates thinking? Let's bring back our panel, these guys who are going to talk to us and try to offer us some solutions on this. You see Tim Crockett, who's with AKE, International Management Group, also Rutgers University Professor Saeed Samatari is the editor of the Horn of Africa journal there, and also a former FBI International kidnapping negotiator is Chris Voss. They all join us, and then Mr. Christodoulou, who is also involved in a very similar situation as this. You couldn't hear me before, though, Mr. Samatar, but I want to ask you about, we're trying to find solutions here, and I want to go into the actual pirates themselves. Is this a last resort for them, or is it more so that the ships out there are an easy target, or a combination of both here?
Well, I think it's a combination of both, and if I may say so, I think we need to understand the background to this. As you recall, when the central Somali government collapsed about 19 years ago, our coastal waters were defenseless. International interlopers, fishing trolleys descended on our shores and hauled off our sea life. And even much more catastrophic than that is that a warlord made a kind of deal with an alleged mafia that dumped nuclear waste on the Somali on what was once a pristine Somali
Are you
coast.
saying, but because of that situation, are you saying that these men feel compelled to do that? How did that change the situation in Somalia when that happened?
No, I am by no means justifying what these maritime thugs are doing. They are thugs, and I think I have some ideas as to how to deal with them.
And what should we do?
Well, the first thing you need to do is develop human assets on the ground, intelligence. Once you have a complete understanding of who these pirates are, who their clans are, who their elders are, then what you need to go for is to go and arrest their own clan elders. You see, the Somalis do not understand the Western principle of individual gift and individual innocence. They understand collective punishment, collective guilt.
Hang on there, Mr. You bring up a very good point. Now, I want to ask Chris Voss, who's a former FBI lead, international kidnapping negotiator. Mr. Voss, you hear what Mr. Samatar is saying. He's saying you need to go to the ground level and develop some sort of relationship with these people, intel, if you will, and know their way of life in order to be able to solve this. Is his point right on?
Well, I think that's part of it. I mean, once a problem like this gets started in a culture, kidnapping, kidnapping for ransom, kidnapping on the water, piracy, it's a virus, and it's a lot of easy money, and you have to attack the infrastructure from a number of different directions at the same time. There's no one answer alone that's going to deal with it, and certainly dealing with it on the ground through the social structure, the cultural structure that supports it, is definitely a big part of that piece.
In your experience, do you think there's enough on the ground, especially when it comes to intel, or enough people there who are trying to understand and get at what the motivations and get at what Mr. Samatar is talking about, not just the U.S., but internationally?
I think there are a lot of people that would like to be, but with the lack of any sort of governmental structure, it's very difficult to go there. There are other countries coming in are viewed as intruders. There's issues of international sovereignty, which seem ridiculous in Somalia, but the rest of the countries around the world have to respect that unless they work through the UN.
James Christodoulou, when you were in the middle of your negotiations, in the middle of your crew being hijacked and held hostage, what did you find about, at least if we had any sort of tentacles in that area, if any information from the government paid off for you?
No. In fact, unfortunately, the government and other international or military agencies really didn't assist us at all in our negotiation and our 57-day hostage crisis. So I really don't know what level of intelligence they have on land. I do know that, as many of your guests on this program and in other programs have pointed out, that the way to ultimately end this crisis that's plaguing my industry and threatening the brave men and women who serve in it is to actually pull the root out of the ground and go to Somalia and deal with the cause there, whether it's with bullets or butter. You know, we have, the solution lies on land, not at sea.
So they're often, you were on your own, is what you're on your own.
Not just me. I mean, this, all previous ship owners before this very unique incident and some of the French incidents, and of course the Russian vessel that had armaments on board. It's really a private matter between the ship owner and the pirates. This is a very unique situation that's captured so much world and media and government attention.
Tim Crockett, you hear them saying that they were on their own when it came to this. That's why people really hired your organization, private organizations, and organizations like yours, is to protect them from these situations, and then once and if it does happen, to offer them some sort of advice about how to get out of it.
Yeah, that's correct. Anything that ship owners, ship companies, and indeed the navies around the world that are contributing to policing this area, it's all defensive. All you can do is prevent the pirates getting on board, train and advise the crew on what to do to cope with the situation and hopefully end it in a safe manner. But really, it's not going to address the long-term sort of issues that is plagued not just off the coast of Somalia, but other areas in the world.
Okay. Stand by, guys, because we want to talk about this and try to answer this question that we've been asking throughout this broadcast. All right, final thoughts about how to stop these pirates. I want to bring our panel back in. I want to start with you. Get your final thoughts, Professor Saeed Samatar. You seem to have be much more intimate with the knowledge of this situation than many people who I've spoken to and many people on our panel here, frankly. Give us a solution.
I think, as a number of the panelists suggested, the ultimate solution will come when that unfortunate country is reconstructed and made into a nation that responsible to guard its maritime boundaries.
Chris Voss, intelligence, is that the key?
Well, it's part of it, and I think, though, the most dangerous negotiation is the one that you don't know that you're in. And negotiation can be used as a weapon to help find solutions in this environment and slow the pirates down.
Harry Humphreys?
Look to the shore, stabilize the government, attack when you can in a manner that is specific to the leadership of the pirates, and those at sea must utilize the forces at sea. Go with convoy. Go with convoy support from CTF 151.
And Tim Crockett, you always talk to us about prevention.
Yeah, obviously preparing the crew, preparing the ship, ensuring that the navies that are patrolling the area are equipped to deal with the situations as they arise, and of course help bolster and put in some sort of functioning government there.
And James Christodoulou, we have seconds left. Your intimate knowledge of this, what's your solution?
Everybody has already given their solution. They're all right. It's got to be a multinational, multi-pronged approach. But as a member of the seafaring community, I just want to say how proud I am of Captain Phillips, the crew of the Alabama, and every seafarer around the world who puts up with this type of danger every single day. It's part of their life.
Thank you all. I'm Don Lemon here in Atlanta. I'll see you back here 10 p.m. Eastern. Larry King Live begins right now.